Okay, let's get started with today's recap. It's actually going to be a recap of the semifinals last week and also a look ahead to the finals coming up starting this evening, actually. So let's first go ahead and look at last week. So really it came down to Kirk Cousins. Why Machine dropped him, no one can figure out. He's been riding Kirk Cousins all along throughout the whole season, actually. Plummeting him all the way into the semifinals, actually carrying him into the semifinals. One of the top quarterbacks dropped, and we don't know why. Now, Kirk Cousins had 33 points last week. If he was picked up by any of the teams that lost, he would have carried them to victory. So Bunny could have had Cousins. Instead, he used much lower people. I think he had someone with 4 points on his team last week. Let's take a look. I'll tell you exactly who it was. He had Bolden in the flex spot for New England, and he really didn't amount to much, only 4 points. Cousins, again, had 33 points. And Machine, if he just held on to him, would have had 33 more points on his team, minus the 8 from Alex Smith. So a plus 25 if he kept Cousins. No idea why he used Alex Smith on the road in Baltimore. We can't figure that out. Anyway, so that's last week, and now going ahead to this week, we do have a matchup between the Robert team of Flounder, Landry, sorry about that, Robert. So used to seeing pictures of people holding up fish and stuff. So again, apologize for that. But anyway, we do have Robert, and we have not seen a team actually coast from winning the entire league regular season and then winning the championship in a while. I actually, as a tremendous franchise part with my sons, actually came in first the last 2 seasons and did not win in the finals, actually lost in the finals the past 2 seasons. So let's see if Robert could break that and actually win, even though he won the regular season, also to win the finals as well. So looking ahead to tomorrow's or tonight or this week's matchup, if you want to call it that. Now, CBS is predicting a very close match here, 93-92. So no team really up in the high 90s or in the hundreds, but they're picking Landry's. And there are so many questionable things to look at on this on the roster. So if you just want to match them up, you have Kirk Cousins finally. I'm looking at these teams. Hopefully these are the teams that are going to be set. But now Cousins is actually up in the lineup playing at Philadelphia. Very smart move for Morrison Stanley to actually bring him up. And he is up on the top of the list as a quarterback. I do agree with that move. You do have Tom Brady on the other side, so it's Brady versus Cousins, Brady at the Jets. You would think Brady has an edge because he's Brady. I think this is very close. The Jets are playing for the playoffs. They need the game. It's at New York. So I think it'll actually be close. Actually, Brady does seem to kill the Jets very often. But I think Cousins is playing great, running for a lot of touchdowns as well. And this is a very nice move by Shorty to offset Brady. I think it is actually very close. Next, we're going to look at both running backs. Now, this is very interesting. Yeldon is the Jacksonville running back. He's actually injured, and he is owned by the Get Shorty team. So they're not using him, obviously, because he's injured. But on the flip side of that, you have Denard Robinson, who CBS is predicting to be the top running back out of all running backs, even more than Gurley, even more than D'Angelo that are actually being used. And Robert has Denard Robinson. So nice pickup by Robert. I think it took him a week or two ago. He does have Denard Robinson, and he has D'Angelo Williams. So if you look at his 2 running backs, these are 2 running backs that were not even owned, I don't think, at the draft. Maybe Ike had D'Angelo, only to use him for 2 weeks as the Pittsburgh running back, right? But now you have Denard Robinson and D'Angelo, both starting for Robert and taking the place of injured running backs, going against Gurley and Charcandrick West. So West obviously taking the place as the Kansas City running back. So take a look at that. 4 running backs. None of them were actually being used, maybe D'Angelo, if anyone, at the beginning of the year. All being used in the finals. I am picking the combination of Denard and D'Angelo to be better than Gurley and West. It will be close, but I do think that Denard at New Orleans will score a lot of points. and D'Angelo at Baltimore will also score a lot of points. So that's what I'm looking at right there. And again, giving the slight edge to Robert over there. So St. Louis, by the way, Gurley is playing at Seattle, who is playing very strong lately. So I got to give the edge there to Robert. Going to the wide receivers now. We do have DeAndre Hopkins and A.J. Green versus Ruben Randle and Ted Ginn. So you got to look at Robert here. What is going on? He has top receivers in Beckham and Dez. Beckham is now suspended. Dez is on his bench. He's looking at Ruben Randle and Ted Ginn. Very questionable choices right there. And he's really opening the door for Shorty by using Randle and Ginn. Ginn was okay last week. I do think he has better options. He has Fitzgerald playing against Green Bay. You're going to think that they're going to have to put up points at Green Bay. He also has Dez, who he's not even using. So Dez might be hurt. We don't know. But anyway, very, very questionable choices right there by Robert. And I should mention he does have Devontae Freeman as well. So he's not using him as a running back. So very interesting choices by Robert. I think it may cost him a championship to use Randle and Ginn. We shall find out. But also on the Shorty side, he does have A.J. Green. And he can actually go with Alshon Jeffrey or Stephon Diggs. Both who I feel are better choices than A.J. Green, who does not have a great quarterback because Dalton is out. So questions right there. We have tight ends. Olsen is a fantastic pick, playing great at Atlanta. Solid pick. And you have Julius Thomas, also a pretty good pick, playing at New Orleans, who gives up a lot of points. I'm going to give the edge to Olsen for the undefeated Carolina Panthers. Again, you look at the flex positions. You have McFadden for Robert versus Carlos Williams for Morris and Shorty and Stanley. Questionable again. So do you use McFadden? Don't use McFadden. He's been playing great. But you got to look at Devontae Freeman. Can you use him or not? This is a flex position. You can use, again, Dez if you want to, if you're Robert. And just going back to get Shorty, you do have, again, questions that you can use there. Why not Drew Brees against Jacksonville? Why would you not use him? And why would you use Carlos Williams over Drew Brees? I think that's a very, very tough choice. We don't know if he's going to play or not. It says he's going to play. If Drew Brees is playing, you must start Drew Brees right there. Otherwise, again, you have Jeffrey and Diggs. Last but not least, we do have the kickers, Gostkowski versus Bailey. Both great kickers. You can't really predict kickers. I think that's going to be pretty even. And now you have defenses. Very tough choices here. Again, Robert is starting Minnesota against the Giants. He's probably doing it because Beckham is out. But Eli Manning has been a machine. So to go against him, that's very, very tough to do. I don't like the pick as Minnesota. I think you should take Buffalo and use them against Dallas, who is terrible and has nothing to play for. So why not use Buffalo against Dallas? Again, a very tough choice, I think. But Robert is doing this because he's a Dallas fan. So I don't like the choice. Go ahead and use Buffalo against Dallas instead of the Vikings against the Giants. So that's where I stand on that. I don't see any other defense available right now to Morris and Stanley. So it looks like they're going with the Bengals. Not an easy choice at Denver. Again, there's got to be another defense out there that you could possibly use. Why didn't you plan ahead and get another defense? No idea. So that's my recap. Thanking everyone for the birthday wishes. Wishing everyone a Happy New Year. Wishing Santa Merry Xmas. And I hope everyone gets their presents delivered. So in closing, thanks for a great season. My prediction is Robert will win the championship. I do not think he will use the team that I've been going through so far. I don't think he'll use the Vikings. I don't think he'll use Ginn and Randle both. I think one of those two is going to come out, probably Randle. But again, those are my predictions. So Robert, do the right thing, make some moves, and you will have the trophy pretty soon. Thanks again.